I want to talk about this transition phase. So there's a phase that you're going to go through if you really try and get sober and you start doing it, where you're probably not even going to see the light at the end of the tunnel. You might only just know, like, hey, I can't do this forever. I got to get better. I'm going to quit, or I'm going to quit one day. That might be your self-talk. There's this transition phase that has to happen, though, where you're going from this street life mentality, culture, whatever you call it. It's this little secondary world of people that they collectively do, whether it's whatever drug, it's a whole entire ecosystem. You're going to have to go through a transition period where you're going from the street. In my case, I had to go from the street. I had to go get help. For me, that was detox, rehab. And when I finally really got it, even though I had some relapses after, I went from detox to rehab to a sober house. I completed like this whole program. But it took me probably 2 to 3 months to start coming back to reality. 2 or 3 months of being sober, being around people we're all trying to get sober. It helped because, I went from being around people where all we wanted to do was find a way to get high, being around people getting high, being around my drug dealers, being in the street, having my hustles, get a job once in a while, or just finding ways to make money, that whole situation, to, okay, now I'm in a place, we're all trying to get sober. I'm working with doctors. They're trying to dial in medications that work for me. I'm having a hard time sleeping at night. A detox. I need withdrawal meds. It took me about 2 or 3 months. And one thing that's always been stable, that always helped me through this transition period, was, number one, talking to my higher power, having a connection with God. Because at the end of the day, there's only you and your higher power, if you have one. It all comes down to, it's just you. And if you have a higher power, you have that as well. It's really important. A lot of these programs, AA specifically, they talk about a higher power, and it's very important. So this transition phase, having a higher power and having the gym, those are the two things. And then if you have it, something that's also a great help, family support. Even if it's just, like in my instance, even if it's just being able to call my dad once a week or talk to my mom once a week, you know what I mean? That in itself, those 2-3 things, that's going to help you through this transition period. But other things that are really going to help, why, I say you can't see light at the end of the tunnel. Like, if you're doing dope every day and you're in that culture, and really, I'm talking far, but I was able to do this the best way possible because I had insurance. That's a blessing. Some people don't have that, don't know how the fuck to get that. But I'm telling you, there is free places, but it's a crucial step. But having other people trying to solve the same problem, it's a whole ecosystem. It's its whole own world. Just like being in the streets, its own world. Being sober, working a job, its own world. Getting sober is its own world. It's a phase you have to go through. It's a transition period. It probably took me a good year or 2 years after I completed this program. After I completed the program, I was good for a while. I might have drank a little bit. I might have smoked a little bit. I might have relapsed a couple times. But that program changed my perspective. I changed my friends. I changed my location. Then I ended up coming to this realization, like, I'm not going to be able to stay sober and get sober for good if I can't get sober in the place that I was getting high the most. So, I had a kid back here where I was getting high, And I went, miles away. I live in Ohio. I went all the way to Florida to get sober, and I'm staying in a sober house. This was probably 4 or 5 months deep. I ended up staying out there 6 months total, but I had jobs. I was living in a sober house. I had plenty of people that I met out there, friends, employers, shit like that. I could have easily stayed out there, and there's a really good recovery system out there, but I made that decision where it's like, if I can't go back home and get sober, I'm not going to stay sober anywhere. And the biggest thing that made me come to that realization was, I have a kid and I got a family out here. I can't run away from my problems. Like, I gotta face this shit. These are all things and thoughts that you're gonna have when you go through this transition period. And at first you don't see light, you know what I mean? There is no light. You're just like, this fucking sucks. Like, I wanna be getting high. You're probably gonna relapse a bunch. That's just, they say relapse is a part of recovery, but it's not a necessary part. But I'll tell you what, I want to help you guys. I really do. You got to listen to me or somebody else, or your conscience. If your conscience is impaired, you're not going to have the correct voice of your conscience, but you've got to listen to somebody else that has done it. Just like if you want to get strong, you need to talk to somebody that's done it. You can't always just pull everything out of your ass, because there is questions that you're not going to have answers for. To learn things, you're going to have to seek the answer. But in this transition period, before you even start it, right at the beginning, you have to want to seek the answer. I want to get sober. How do I do it? You have to ask these questions. And somebody like myself, I've been through it. I was all the way deep on one side. I came back to the surface. I went all the way deep on the good side. There's two outcomes in life. It's either good or it's bad. And they both feel the same. Not 100%. Don't take me literal, but good and bad. It's the two forces on this planet that we have. There's good and evil. Now, if you run with God, it's a good feeling. You do good things. It has a good outcome. If you run with the devil, you feel good. You have good feelings. It has a bad outcome. Even if you have bad feelings, it's like the bad feels good when you're dealing with the devil. And I can say that because I know it. I've been there. I turned my back on God for years. Ask for forgiveness. Start living right. God doesn't care about what you did yesterday. He cares about today. He cares about what you're going to do now. Once you find new knowledge on how to live a better life, he cares about what you do with that. It's never going to be a perfect process, man. I'm just letting you guys know the transition from start to finish. I'm not going to lie to you. It's probably going to take you a full first 3 months to get your head right. It's probably going to take you into the first year. You'll probably have some relapses. You keep trying. It's probably going to take you until year 2. It might even take between 2 and 5 years of relapsing, getting back better. It might take you 2 to 5 years of fucking up based on personal experience before all of that relentless effort to figure out the solution to this problem, to where everything just fucking lines up, and you've learned and you've asked enough questions to where I know exactly what to do now. Now it's up to me. Do I choose to fuck up? Right now, in my personal situation, if I dove head first right now back in that drug world, I'd be a millionaire compared to these drug addicts. Damn, I'm not saying literally, but compared to people that are all the way deep into that hustle, fell all the fucked way off. They're trying to steal something. They're trying to boost something. They're trying to hustle somebody. They're trying to do something, get some money just to get high for today. Sell something, do some bullshit, middleman something. Me, if I jump back in right now, which we're always going to have that choice. You get better, you always going to have that choice. I could jump back in and basically be a fucking millionaire in that shit. I'm jumping in with money. I got tens of thousands I could go fuck off on the shit. I got sober in 2019. I've had fuck ups, right? I've had fuck ups. But my whole entire mentality, I can't do it. I can't do it. It's like I've retrained my brain to where I can't physically just go jump off and do it. If it was like, oh, you're gonna go do a pill today. Someone's forcing you to do a pill today. You're gonna go do a 30 today. Okay, I'm forced to do it. I do the 30. I'm not gonna keep doing it. There's something that's changed in my brain, and it's not the same. This is the full transition, and I'm being 100% transparent. I'm trying to tell you guys what it was, what it was, and what it is, and you have to get through this period so you can get to this point where it is a choice. And some people, it's never going to be a choice. Some people, you're never going to be able to decide whether I can or can't take a drink of alcohol. Some people, it's you're going to have to quit cold turkey. But I want to keep it real with you guys. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do none of this shit. But on a rare occasion I drink, I don't have to keep drinking. I don't have to get drunk. And by definition of the book of Alcoholics Anonymous, I'm an alcoholic. Addict, alcoholic, it's the same shit. What I'm trying to do is give you guys some hope. There is going to be some people that will eventually, this is 2019, I got sober, this is 2024, this is 5 years we're talking about. Now, I could take a sip of alcohol, I'm fine. In the past, I've abused the fuck out of alcohol. I've abused almost every drug. But when you go into this thing, you got to think that I'm never going to use another drug again. It's kind of like growing up. You start learning things as your brain matures, and you kind of can't see what you're going to learn until you learn it. Peace and love, y'all. Get better, get well. Reach out to me if you need any help, man. I'm always here.